Philip, I believe we're on. We're seeing any action over there?
Yeah, we're on.
Great. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Tarian from the Disability Digest here, and welcome to our Wednesday live event. Today, we are going to cover the top 10 most commonly asked questions from the year. We're not packing it in. The year's not over, but wanted to cover this because we've got some other exciting items in the last few weeks for our live events. So um, we've got Philip Price with us today. Philip, thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody.
For
Morning.
those of you that have not met Philip, he's been working here, helping on a part-time basis, advocating for people to help them get, keep, and maximize their disability benefits. He also runs a Facebook group that does the same thing. So glad to have you with us today. Um, and Jam will be with us in a moment. She just stepped away from her desk, so she'll be back. So today, what we're going to cover, as I mentioned, is the top 10 questions that our members submit. Now, here at the Disability Digest, we've been advocating for individuals to help them get all the disability benefits they're entitled to since 2006. And that includes generally helping people get their disability benefits approved fast, hopefully, helping you keep them, helping you maximize them. So some of the questions that we get, the top ones are, am I eligible? People want to know if they qualify for disability benefits. How do I apply for benefits? What's the difference between Social Security disability benefits and SSI benefits? We're going to cover that one. How long does it take for those going through the approval process? And what do I need to provide? What happens if I get denied? How's my check calculated? Can I work? Can you work while you're going through the approval process? Can you work after the approval process? Is there anything else I'm entitled to? And how do I keep my benefits? So we're going to do that. Then at the end, we're going to continue with something that we just started 2 weeks ago. We're going to offer folks the ability to call in, speak to us live. You'll have 3 minutes to ask your question, give you an answer. Or if you don't want to call in, of course, you can just be anonymous. You don't need to reveal your name. You can put your question in text. But folks, before we get on with the show, let's welcome Jam here with us. And
Hi, good
Jam,
afternoon, everybody.
Jam is on a worldwide tour right now with her family. So where in the world are you right now, Jam?
I'm in United Arab Emirates, Dubai, visiting my dad and his family.
Very nice in Dubai. Is there anything that stands out, one or two things about Dubai?
Of course, there's the museum feature, and then this Burj Khalifa,
Yeah.
the one that I sent you, Brian.
Yes, very
It's
pretty.
amazing.
Very
Yeah,
pretty.
it's great. Infrastructure and architecture
Mm-hmm.
really is
Mm-hmm.
a place to go.
Great. That's good. Hey, listen, folks, for all of you who are like, well, maybe Dubai sounds great. I don't know if I can afford to go there or go there, all that. In a few weeks, we're going to have a travel expert that does a lot of work for helping disability recipients take trips. So if you happen to have some questions that we could load up and ask our guest that's going to come here, you could definitely put those in chat and we could start getting those ready. So let's get on with the show. The first thing we're going to talk about in order that I communicated is, and we're going to spend a couple minutes on each. We're not going to do a deep dive on these, and we have resources that we can leave you with and ways in which you can learn more at the end. But the first question is, am I eligible for Social Security? So we want to talk about the general eligibility criteria. And we have a show and tell graphic that I'm going to put up on my screen here for you. And isn't this gorgeous? This was put together by Jam. And this goes through the general criteria for an individual to go through and determine if they're eligible and then get approved. So Jim, you want to point out a few key things on this nice flow chart here?
Yeah, to be eligible to qualify for SSDI, you need to have earned enough work credits through employment, and also Social Security looks at your recent work history to determine if you have been working recently. If you have not worked in the last 5 out of 10 years, you may face challenges in meeting the recent work history requirements. And for medical requirements, you must have a severe medical condition that meets the Social Security Administration's definition of disability.
Mm-hmm.
So with the flow chart, you would need diagnosis and of course doctor treatment, and that includes with your diagnosis comes with your limitations. And of course, if you do have a bulletproof medical records, then you do get approved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the bottom left is the objective, is the goal for people that are not able to work so they can get their income. So the key points are diagnosis, need to have your conditions diagnosed, have them treated. And despite those two things, you've got limitations that prevent you from working, right?
So yeah, so the condition should prevent you from performing a substantial gainful activity and be
Mm-hmm.
expected to last for at least 12 months or could result in death.
Right, right. So we recently did, I think it was last week, we did what you need to prove at different ages. So if you want to know more about like what you need to prove, and it's different if you're under 50, if you're over 50, it's different based on your occupation and your work history. There's several variables that are drilled down. So on our YouTube channel, just look at the prior live event that we did for more information on this. Well done, Jim.
Right.
Okay, so the next topic that we want to move on to um, is how to apply for disability benefits. So Jim, I know you work like on the front lines, speaking with members. Some haven't applied, some have applied. What are some of the common questions you receive in this area, and like, how can people apply? How can they go about it?
Yeah, they always ask how many work credits they would need, or do they even qualify with them sharing their condition.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the common questions that I get asked.
But what about the actual technical application process? How can people go about that?
Like I mentioned earlier, to qualify, generally you need 40 work credits through employment, and then Social Security checks if you have been working recently to determine your eligibility. And if you haven't worked in the last 5 out of 10, meeting the recent work history requirement may be challenging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mhm.
So once you have an idea that you qualify and you want to pursue your benefits, you
Mhm.
can apply online.
Yeah.
I'll put that up on the screen here. Um,
Mhm.
and you can go to this is ssa.gov. If you just type in apply for Social Security disability, you'll end up at this page. And you can click this button and apply. It's good to have all of your information in advance, which you'll find that on this website, so that when you go in and you start your application, you don't like have your doctors but not your work history, and you have all your
Yeah.
medications and all that stuff. So this is one way to apply. There used to be at one point in time when I was doing this, like in years 1 through 5, a paper process. I don't even know if they do that anymore. So one is you can do it online. Two is you can actually go into Social Security, and again, make sure you bring all of your information with you. and you can apply. You can sit in front of somebody and you can just share the information. You can do it over the
Yes, you can
phone.
schedule.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
you can
You can
do it over
schedule
the
an
phone.
appointment.
Mm-hmm. Schedule an appointment over the phone. It's best if you're going to do something in person with Social Security, you do it later in the week. They aren't as busy. Um, And the last way you can do it is you can have somebody do it for you. You can provide all your information to a disability representative or even a family member, but representatives, many full service representatives that will work with you at the very beginning of your case will take your information. They'll provide you a way to submit it. Maybe it's over the phone or maybe it's online, but they'll take your information and they will do the application process for you. So those are the different and common ways that you can get your disability application started. So that's another one. The next common question that we receive, and for those of you that are piling in here, welcome, welcome. We're going through the top 10 questions that our members ask this year in 2023, and then we're going to take some of your questions by phone, or if you prefer to text them or put them in the chat to us, we'll do that at the end. So the next topic that we want to cover is the difference between Social Security disability, which is SSDI that you see up here on the screen right now, the difference between that and SSI. There's pretty significant difference. Um, so how would you explain, or how do you explain that to people, Jam?
So SSDI is based on work history and Social Security taxes paid. It
Mm-hmm.
requires a specific number of work credits earned through employment and payment of Social Security taxes. So when it comes to income source, it's funded through payroll taxes paid by workers, employers, and self-employed individuals.
Mm-hmm.
As for monthly benefit amount, the benefit amount is based on the individual's average lifetime earnings before the disability onset date. And after that, about Medicare eligibility, you become eligible for Medicare after a 24-month waiting period from the onset of the disability.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to asset limits, there's no specific asset limit for SSDI.
Mm-hmm.
And also, eligible dependents, spouses, and children may receive auxiliary benefits based on the disabled individual's work record.
Very nice. So the short story is if somebody has worked and paid their taxes, then they would possibly qualify for Social Security disability, right? Is there a common question that you're asking members to determine if they've worked enough to qualify for Social Security disability?
Mm, Common question from members.
Yeah, like how much have you worked, or get an idea how they worked when you last worked? What do you
Oh
ask them?
yeah, I usually ask if they have worked more than 50% of the last
Mm-hmm.
10 years, and was there a time that they were out of work? Just those two
Yep.
in general.
Yep. Good. Good. We're going to talk about the check amount in a minute, but check amounts vary. They're not standard. But
Mhm.
again, if you don't qualify for Social Security disability, then there is the SSI program, also known as welfare or social insurance. It's got a bunch of different names. And
Yeah,
that's just, you need to meet the asset requirements, need to be low enough to get into that.
yeah. Let's
Um,
talk more a little bit about that.
yeah. One
Mm,
other thing about that I want to touch on for SSI is there are many that go through the disability approval process that qualify for both. And if you are an SSI candidate, you can apply for both those benefits at the same time. And it is possible to get a check for SSI of I think it's $994 a month while you're going through the approval process for Social Security disability. Now, also, when you get approved for your Social Security disability, those checks are like on average like 1,350. So that would put you over the limit to still get your $994. But what is possible is once you're approved for disability benefits, you could still meet the insurance requirements to get both the Medicare and the SSI component of insurance, which is Medicaid. So many of our members are what we refer to as dual eligible, and they have both of those insurance packages, which really puts them in a powerful situation for healthcare because they get access to the most amount of doctors for the least amount of money. And they get oftentimes lots of extra benefits, like they get the flex cards, and I've seen all kinds of things. They used to have, you know, lots of shopping credits. So point is you can get both here, and for many they do. Okay. The next question is the approval time. Like, how long does it take for the decision time? That's a common question that people have. And I'm going to put up on the screen here a company that aggregates the statistics, and they do a good job at it. This link and most of these links that I'm sharing with you are going to be available in the video description on the YouTube live feed. So if you're watching it on YouTube, then you can go in and get these afterwards. If you're not, you can make your way over there. All right, so how long does it take? This might be difficult to see, but I'll break it down for you. The initial application decision time. So when you first submit your application, like I showed you the green button on how to apply or however you choose to apply, nationally it's 223 days, and this was updated in October of this year. So it's a long time. Now there are some states that have, shorter, and some that actually have longer, because again, this is an average. If you're in Austin, Texas, where Mr. Philip Price is, plan on waiting a long, long time. If you're in Vermont, where I am, it has one of the shortest waits in the nation. So it's going to slightly vary, but in general, it takes a while now because the challenge is there's just a lot of cases in the system. You see this graph right here show there's 1.14, and that's down from 1.4 million, so it is slightly down. But it's still a lot of cases with a reduced staffing, and that's creating this slower decision time. So set your expectations when you're going in. That's one of the best pieces of advice, because people come in without understanding realistically what the approval expectations are, like the chances of getting approved and how long it takes. And it just really frustrates them because they're sick and out of work and they don't understand the process. It's just so that's what we attempt to do here at the Disability Digest, take a lot of that guesswork and unknown out of it for you. Okay, question number 6 out of 10. What happens if I get denied? And unfortunately, that does happen. I'm going to go down here to the bottom, and this kind of maps out the approval steps. If you submit an application right here at this stage, that's where the 223-day average is. The national average for getting approved at this stage is 36%. I'm putting up an expectations that shows the expectations for approval. Now, this is very general. If you're over 50, under 50, your conditions, there's so many different variables in here, but nationally, it's 36%. Then if you get denied there, you have this reconsideration stage. There's 10 states that don't have this. But if you are subject to it, then the expectations there are like 13% range, right? So plan on waiting 223 days for a 36% crack at getting approved. And if you appeal it, you got another 13% at reconsideration. So there are ways to definitely maximize that. I mean, we know our own internal statistics for those that we work on, and they're far different than that. I don't reveal those out publicly. If you talk to an advocate here, they can tell you what they are. So I don't want to be in the business of shouting around statistics. But you can definitely maximize your chances by doing the right things, which we teach you how to do by using a disability approval course here. That's part of your membership, and there's no charge. Or you can partner with us or another representative that does the work right for you, and that would definitely drive your chances up. So the next stage after these first two is going in front of a judge. Hopefully you don't have to go there, but the approval chances increase there to 51% nationally. So that's the kind of the expectations. The thing with getting denied, if you can't work, here's the key point for this section. If you cannot work and you've submitted an application, it's annoying and frustrating. I get it to get denied, but you should definitely appeal. Or some people make a really gargantuan financial mistake is they just choose to start over and they think it's better to start over. I haven't found a situation where it is. So, and there's a lot of nuances to that, but just as a general rule, my message based on my experience, and that is keep going. Stay in the game if you want to win the game. Okay. Here's another one that we commonly get. People say, well, my Social Security check amount is only this, and Betty across the street, she's killing it. She's getting like $300 a month more. Like, why is she getting that and I'm not getting that? Or some variation of that. So your check is calculated in large part. What Jam had pointed out is based on your work and the taxes that you pay. And of course, in true Social Security format, they've got some super complicated formula that they use. And for sake of simplistics, there is this tool that you can go in and use, and you can take a look at your earnings history. You can enter your earnings history. You can see what your check amount was going to be. And I bring this up because some people look in their My SSA account, which is where you can see what your disability check amount is going to be. It tells you right in there, unless you've already applied. And they're like, geez, I think it should be more than that. So you can take the earnings that they show, bring it over to the calculator, enter it. That's one way that you can use this calculator. The other way is if you are planning on retiring, maybe you're out there or planning on, working a few more years and filing for disability, and you want to see what it's going to look like, you can use this calculator. But it's the formula behind this calculator that is going to drive your check. So general rule, more you make, more taxes, the higher your check amount. And if you have years of low or no earnings, which many do, they stop and they just ponder applying for disability, that just puts a big dent in your check amount. So one of the messages I want to communicate to you out there is if you're thinking about it, if you're not able to work and you're optimistic that maybe you'll be able to go back, I think that's certainly a solid argument, and I would support that. But you should also consider applying right away. And if you can return to work, then either stop your application, or if you return to work and it only lasts like 3 or 4 months, you can use that as a failed work attempt and still have your application in place. So when you think about it from that perspective, it doesn't cost you anything to put your application in, and it's really just good insurance because it will protect your check amount. So I'm a little off track on that question, but I felt it was important. Okay, next we want to talk about working and going through the approval process. And we also want to talk about working when you're approved. And you can do both, but Philip, if you don't mind, I'd like to have you participate in this because one, you're familiar with it as a disability recipient, and you work with people on both sides, those trying to get approved and those approved day in and day out. So, um,
Okay.
what tips do you have for people that we have the regulation they can go see that, but what tips might you have for people that are considering or doing this working?
Well, the first tip would be if you're applying, um, is to just keep in mind any work that you do, whether you're applying or you've applied and been approved, is to be mindful that uh, Social Security can use that to either deny, or if you're approved, they can do a review if you're uh, doing any kind of work that pertains to what you filed for, your disability.
Mm-hmm.
If you filed for back problems or um, things like that, then you don't want to be out doing a part-time job mowing grass or hauling hay or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to create a situation where Social Security can say, possibly do a review. And then, of course, if you're working while you're applying and you're working over um, the SGA, substantial gainful activity, that's a dollar amount. And Brian can.
Yeah, I'll chime in here. For this year, it's $1,470 a month that you can work while you're going through the approval process.
And if you're going over that by $1, it will still um, create the argument for Social Security to say, well,
Yeah.
if you're earning over that, it's possible you could get some other treatment or accommodations at the job you're doing that will allow you to work more hours.
Mm-hmm.
In the long run, is going to get you denied. And the other tip would be if you're approved and you're working a part-time job, is be mindful of the rules. Like Brian said, for 2023, the amount that you can earn and not affect, or while you're working or while you're applying, is $1,470. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's for those sort of applying.
Now, if you're approved, in order to, and it's a complicated uh, rule, and you really need to do your homework on it. If you're approved, if you're on disability and you're working, you need to uh, follow the guidelines as far as the trial work period, because that amount of money, uh, as long as you stay under that, it won't trigger a trial work period and will not affect your benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
for 2024, that amount is $1,110, I believe.
Yeah. 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 So there's two different amounts. One for those that are going through the approval process we talked about. I have on my screen, I have this year, so I'll just stay with that. 1,470 a month. That's the amount that Social Security allows you to make while you're going through the application, right? So Phillips, you're saying just be aware they can open up and question and
Yeah,
all that, right?
yeah,
So then for those that are approved, the amount is different. Of course,
yeah,
why have one regulation? That would make way too much sense. And for those that are approved, it's $1,050 a month this year, going up to by what, $600, I think, for next year. Yeah. I am a big proponent of people working, just understanding the guidelines. I think that not, financially, there's certainly that, but I mean, keeping engaged is a healthy thing to do. I mean, right? I mean,
Yeah, there's a
you,
lot of miscommunication out there on the social medias, Facebook, especially. That question will get answered: Can I work? And if I can, how much? And there's a lot of
oh yeah,
response to it, and there can be some wrong answers out there. So you really need to do your homework, pay attention to it, especially if you're on disability and receiving benefits. You don't want to jeopardize that by getting the wrong information.
yeah,
And
exactly. So what we work hard at doing is showing you the regulations here in this page that I put up, which is available in the video description. You can come in and watch this video, and this shows you how much you can make and apply for disability is on this top link. And then this bottom one shows you how much you can make if you're already approved. And this is the Social Security regulation. So whatever your brother-in-law says, down at the diner, if it's not consistent with this, I wouldn't go with it. So for 2024, it's $1,110 a month. And what Philip was saying was great advice. If you stay below that, some say even 20% below that every month, it doesn't trigger anything, any trial work periods. You can just continue to do that peacefully and go on about your way, right? Yeah, the only other thing that I'll and see if you have anything to chime in on this. I think one of the things that has been a stumbling block for people that are trying to work is they attempt to work at something has a low probability of success for them. And I'll use the example that you pointed out earlier and spin it a little bit about the back situation. So let's say that you're approved for disability and you have a back fusion and you want to do some part-time work. And you go out, and this actually happened. You go out and you buy a nice new John Deere lawnmower, and you're going to mow lawns in your neighborhood. Um, but you know, first day you get on that mower and you're riding around, and the lawns are bumpy and it's jarring your back, and you can't take it. So that wasn't really well thought through to buy a lawnmower without understanding what your back pain would be. So what I'm saying is find something and really think about it where your probability of success is super high. I would rather see somebody do that and have a win and then maybe build on that to do something else than put yourself in a challenging, unrealistic, confidence, damaging situation. Yeah. Yep. Um, okay. So we've hit that one pretty hard. I think we covered it all right. Anything else?
I think that's it. Just again, pay close attention to the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Okay.
because you're approved and you're on disability doesn't mean you can put it on autopilot and just cruise through
Right.
for the rest of your life. You need to stay up to date on all the rules and regulations every year because it changes every year.
And although we say that, there are still people out there that have the set it and forget it mentality. I guess, It is
Yeah.
what it is, but we hope you don't choose that. Next question that we commonly received is, oh my God, I'm only getting a 3.2% raise in my check next year. I'm on a fixed income and my expenses have gone up. What else am I entitled to? What else is out there? Um, and frankly, I don't know. You're on your individual situation because I don't know where you're at. But for most people, this is one area where they get on their disability benefits and then they stop looking around. Um, and the landscape is changing now more than ever in the favor of the disability recipient. And for certain subsets of disability recipients, even more for those that have certain conditions. Um, there's extra benefits. Those that are Medicare, Medicaid eligible, the benefits are increasing rapidly. So some of the things that drive that are you entitled to more is if you haven't done a review in a while. And the biggest lift in benefits could very well be is that let's say you're with a Medicare Advantage plan with Humana. Well, they might have come out with a new plan. You don't have to change companies. You could just take a look at like maybe they've got a different plan. This commonly happens. And all you do is slide from your one plan, keep your same doctors, all the same, into another plan that has better benefits. And maybe they lower your copays. Maybe they've got a flex card. Maybe they've got different incentives now. That is the landscape right now. Um, I would also keep in touch locally with your benefits. There's centers for independent living that are tied into local, uh, relief resources. Maybe it's food, maybe it's fuel, um, situations like that. If you move to a different zip code. That's another way to definitely maximize your benefits. I think supplementing your income, especially with all of the resources available now, that things that you can do from home. I mean, like Philip, you've been around here for like 5 years, just watching what's happened like in that period of time and how things have evolved with what's available. I mean, it's quite remarkable.
Oh, yeah. There's so many um, benefits, that you can take advantage of through those plans
Hmm.
um, that can help if you're on that tight budget. Uh, OTCs, that's some plans have pretty good uh, monthly and quarterly benefits that you can take advantage of that can save you tons of money.
Hmm.
I'm talking,
Hmm.
thousands of dollars a year in simple stuff that, vitamins and uh, Band-Aids, just typical stuff that you can buy at Walgreens or CVS that you can order through these OTCs that'll save you that money. So yeah, and that changes again every year,
Every year.
and you
Yep.
have to stay up to date on it so that next year you can get, maybe there's a better one out there that we can do a review and find out if there's a better one in your area that
Yep.
gets you more.
Yep. Yeah. So the key ways to get more than you're entitled to, or see if there's more, is to review your benefits, and that would be your Medicare options. Review the resources that are available locally to you, like we teach you about Centers for Independent Living, how to use 211, um, resources like that. And then the third one is get a side hustle. Find something to do where you can make a few bucks. And not only do you get the extra income, you get the tax benefits. It's a lot of things that you may be already paying for that are now become deductions. So those are the three major areas. Um, that you can improve your position. So we've got one more topic to cover, and I still see people that are joining us. We're going to take some questions in a few minutes. You'll be able to call in with your question. I'll put the number up on the screen in a few moments, or you can enter it into the chat and we will answer it that way. Um, So the next thing is like, when am I going to be reviewed? I'm concerned about my review. How do I keep my benefits? Questions in and around this area. So, yes, benefits are being reviewed. About 20% annually now are being reviewed. Within the last 10 days, we did a media piece pointing out the work that 60 Minutes, the 60 Minutes news show has done with Anderson Cooper, and what Social Security is doing for overpayments, which is one way that people are losing their benefits. And the other way is a continuing disability review. Sometimes they overlap. So here's the key things on it is what we have shared with you today. Be aware, understand the regulation, like don't make any stupid mistakes. Like if you're on benefits for like a back fusion and you're out on vacation, horseback riding or jet skiing, and you're putting that on social media, expect a visitor. I'm just saying, that's not something that you want to just avoid that. If you're going to work, great. Make sure you understand and stay below the regulations. Understand that according to your award letter, that you are expected to stay in compliance with your awards. So I'm going to put an award letter up here on the screen. This has been made generic. Um, and in this award letter, and not all of these are the same, of course, why would they be? But there is a section in here that says things to remember for the future. By this decision, you must be reviewed at least once every 3 years. Yours might be different. Could be 5 years. Could be whatever. But disability recipients are being reviewed. So the keys for your review and your protection, in addition to what I've mentioned, is make sure that you understand the what we have been through for the disability approval that Jam covered in the beginning. You have diagnosis, make sure that they continue to be treated, and you learn or have learned or will learn from us what to do at each and every doctor's visit so that you have those documented. So when Social Security comes back through your file, they see diagnosis, treatment, limitations as to why you're not able to work. If you're light on the treatment and you're not communicating your limitations, it leaves you in a vulnerable position. And you should be concerned because unfortunately the numbers are was 144,000 last year lost their benefits due to continuing disability reviews. So it does happen, but it doesn't have to happen for a lot of people if you just follow the regulations. Of course, it's always great to see people return to good health and go back to work, but it's unfortunate to see people that cannot work have this happen because if you have a continuing disability review, it's very difficult to get legal representation. A lot of people don't do it, or most people don't do it. And if they do it, there is a fee structure that is different than getting approved. There isn't any back benefits because it's not like you've been out of work. So it's challenging. So some of the resources that we have for you is we have a continuing disability review course, and I'm going to put the link up here just to show you. This is an interview with attorney James Mitchell Brown, who's like an industry icon, and he put together this 10-step course about how to prepare and survive your continuing disability review. Out of the 10 segments, there's 4 of these that are available on our YouTube channel. You can just search the keyword CDR. The entire course, because it has support component that is with it, and some people need legal support, and we have limited resources for that. We only release this to members of the Disability Digest. You'll learn about that in a few moments. If you're a member, you can request it. We will release it. and we do that on a monitored basis so we can control the volume. But this is definitely something as a disability recipient, if you're interested in keeping your benefits, what he has put together is just remarkable. It covers everything from the forms all the way through if you unfortunately get denied, how to appeal it, so on and so forth. So those are some tips. Here at the Disability Digest, we do have a benefit protection program that we offer our clients that we are managing their health care and their Medicare. So people can request a review of their benefits if we find an option for them and they enroll in it or they already have. Then they have access to this course and they actually have access to our legal team if their benefits get denied. And that feature can save them, I don't know, $5,000-$7,000 in legal fees. So at this current time right now, we are not able to take any more benefit review requests because we're just so backed up. But if you come in and you request one, it might be 2 or 3 months before we get to you, but we do make a point to get to anybody. So I'm not saying that we're not taking any more. It's just that those that we take, we're just not able to get to you right away. So those are a few key things. All right. So let's just recap this, and then I'm going to open the lines up to take some questions here in a minute. We've covered the top 10. The key resources are in the video description on YouTube. You can wander over there and check them out. So right now, I'm going to open up the phone line, then I'll give everybody the number. You can call in. You have 3 minutes, and the ideal category of questions, something that we can answer, which is getting approved, how to get, how to keep, how to maximize. And so we'll do that, or you can put your question in the chat. So I'm going to put the number up on the screen here. I think I am. Is this it? Yes. Okay. So the number to call, and it's first come, first serve, is 844 202 5609, and then select extension 15. And I'm sitting right here waiting for the call. In the meantime, Jam, Philip, if there's questions in the text that we want to tackle, and if I get interrupted with a call, we'll just come back to that.
Yeah, sure. So I have a question here from Kathleen. Can we go over the part with children for SSDI individual as dependent?
Yep. Yep. So if a child is under 18, then they would be entitled to a disability check. So an example would be, let's use a check. Let's say that the recipient, the primary number holder, is their check amount is $1,600, right? And there's 2 children under 18. One is 14 and one is 17. So the oldest would get 50% of the check amount, $800, until turns 18. And then the second would get 25%. Now there's a family maximum. It's like 150% of your check is what it tops out at. So if you've got 5 kids, that formula just is going to max out. Now, here's one other little nuance that not many people know of is if you have a child that reaches 18, that typically their benefits stop. However, if they are in a secondary school or for some reason still in high school, then the benefits can continue. So one strategy that I've coached people on is a secondary school could be a prep school. And there's many that take like a gap year. And you can have those benefits continued. So this is Brian. Who's calling? Hi, Kevin. How you doing today? I can hear you, but it's faint. Is there anything you can do on your end to make it a little clearer? Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So I want to make sure I get it. 57 applied in November of 20. You're 58 now. 58. Okay. All right. Applied in November 2022. You're at you're have a hearing coming up. When did you say? March? Okay. 100% P&T, right? Okay. Thank you for your service. Yeah, appreciate that. For those of you that don't know what 100% P&T, could you explain that to the crowd out there, Kevin? What P&T means?
Brian, we can't hear the caller at all.
Okay. Okay. All right, good. I'm gonna share the sound now so people will be able to hear Kevin. So just to repeat, 100% permanent and total. And you have concerns about your hearing that's coming up in March, wondering why you have been like not approved, right?
Correct.
Okay. Can you hear Kevin now, Philip?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Um, I don't know exactly why you've haven't been approved. I mean, but I can give you like some general challenges that people face that we've
Okay,
experienced.
can I add one thing?
Yep.
I was on my job for 30 years. I was working in law enforcement.
Uh,
So
30 years in law enforcement.
yes.
Thank you for your service, Kevin.
Yeah. Good God, I don't know why they missed this one. Do you like how many medical records are in your file?
Oh, I have everything that I have from my military. I have my civilian doctors.
Like
Uh,
page count.
oh, that's what I'm requesting now because my reconsideration was completed last month. I mean, like 2 months ago. Then I requested my files, and now I'm trying to get my files of everything that they have
Okay.
on me.
All right. So here's some of the challenges that I have in representing people and others that do this work with veterans. And even if you're a veteran in your situation, it really, I mean, it kind of boggles me why you haven't been approved. But one of them is oftentimes the number of pages for medical records are just enormous. And then the people at Social Security are understaffed, overworked, and the ability to pinpoint where in all of those, 2 or 3,000 pages, where the evidence is. So that can be overcome like a legal brief, even earlier in the stages. And most people don't write a legal brief until your case goes to hearing. So make
Mhm.
sure, are you using somebody to represent you in court?
Yes, I just recently, because I said it was mind-boggling on all the information that I provided to
Right,
them that
right.
I even went to the medical. They sent me to 2 medical exams, but they never sent me for a mental health exam, which is I'm a major depressive disorder with anxiety and anxious
Yeah.
anxieties also.
Yeah. So if you've got something to write on there, you're the legal team that you're using um, will write a brief. I would ask to read that brief. It should be about maybe 3 to 5 pages, and it will clearly tell your story, make sure it's consistent with your medical records. That will help. Some of the challenges that you and others face is the way the VA medical records are, not just the volume of them, but oftentimes you don't see the same doctor. In each visit with the primary care, it might be on a rotating cycle. So the notes aren't, like a civilian situation. That's one. Two is the way that veterans are, uh, they're taught and they're trained is their communication of their pain level and their injuries related to it are not like a typical civilian typically. I'm not saying this is your case, it's just general. So for example, the civilian might have a pain level of like a 9, but that same pain level for a veteran could be reported at like a 4. It's like, right, because you're taught to play hurt and get back in the game. So that communication limitation um, is another thing that makes it challenging for Social Security. So those are a few things. So I would definitely do that. I would also here at the Disability Digest, we have a disability approval course. And up on the screen right now, I don't know if you're still watching, but is this is video overviews of each section of the approval course. When you're a member, you come in, you enroll, you speak with an advocate, they understand your situation and their conditions, and they enroll you into one of these segments that's on the screen. So yours would be like this step, what to do to prepare for a hearing. In there, one of the key things for you at this point would be to understand what questions you're going to be asked and how to answer them. So disabilitydigest.com, register. Just you can request this if you don't get with an advocate and get enrolled, and that's definitely something that would help you out. It'll take a lot of the guesswork out of the hearing. So love to hear back from you after your hearing or before. Hopefully we get an approval. All right.
Yes, I hope so too. But I'll be registering for your course because I can do that in conjunction with having a lawyer. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then when you're approved, let us know, and we can change your membership once you're approved to help you understand how to keep your benefits, maximize your benefits, and all that stuff. So, all right.
Okay.
Godspeed, man. I wish
I'm
you
on the
well.
phone, so I have to. Thank you. I'll get back online now to see what you posted, so I can continue watching the show. Thank you
Okay.
again.
You got it. You bet, Kevin. Thanks.
All right.
Okay, I'll open the line up for another call. Sorry about the beginning of that. That was my bad. I forgot to put the sound share on. Is there another question that we have in chat that we can take right now?
Yes. From Detrius, besides residual functional report, can an employee submit a statement similar to the residual statement? And if so, what needs to be on the report?
Do you think this is like a third party letter, like that they're
I,
asking to?
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, definitely third party letters are helpful. And in our disability approval course, and in the sections about how to apply, what to do while you're waiting, or how to file your appeal, all that stuff, there is a section in there about additional evidence, and it gives details on what you can do for letters like that. The general structure should be that, I've known XYZ as a coworker. They were a top performer for 5 years. Then in June, came down with this condition and was started to be like 10% off task. And then, just then documenting the specific, uh, you know, differences in work before and after the condition. That's the key that should be in there. What it shouldn't be is XYZ. Oh, what a wonderful person. She worked really hard, had lots of fun, great sense of humor. We go out for beers after work. That's not going to be helpful. right? So for those of you that would like to call in, I've opened the lines up again. You can place a call in and we'll continue with the chat in the meantime. Philip,
Okay.
anything on your side?
You're on mute, Phil.
You're muted, Phil.
Now,
Yep.
Yeah.
okay, I'm taking this one off the Facebook group from this week. It says, tell me what it means that they are doing a non-medical review and I should receive my decision letter in 2 to 3 weeks.
Seeing a lot of this now. Non-medical review is usually those letters will say something like, you have passed the medical portion of the approval process, and now you are in a non-medical review. And what non-medical is looking at is if you've worked enough to qualify for a check. And I also expect that they're looking at other aspects of it, if there's any offsets like workers' compensation or any other things. But it's something that is real head scratcher for me. Why wouldn't they look at that in the very beginning? Right? I mean, like if we're talking to somebody, it's one of the first questions we ask if they've worked enough, because they could be 233 days in the process on an initial application thinking that they're going to get approved and they haven't worked enough. So anyway, that's my rant. But it's actually a good sign. Most of those, from what I've seen, if you pass the medical, that's the most difficult part. Anybody'd like to call in? It's 844-202-5609, extension 15. All right. Who's the next question from?
This
Do you have
one's-
another one, Phil?
Yeah.
One moment, I've got a call. I'll take this and then we'll get back to it. All right, Philip?
Oh,
Welcome. Thanks for calling. This is Brian.
Hello,
Who am I speaking with?
I'm calling to ask some questions about our Medicare coverage.
Sure. Can I, if you don't want to reveal your name, can I call you Bob?
Yeah, it's Paul.
All right, Paul. I
yeah,
hear
my wife.
my voice in the background,
Hang
which
on,
I
I'm trying-
don't
yeah, I'm
mind
trying to
listening to
stop it.
myself, but it's a little
No,
disruptive.
I'm trying to stop it. My computer is acting up. Yeah. What I was asking about is my wife has been in the hospital a lot.
Yep.
And so we've been getting some stuff as far as helping us with food and everything like that, because I'm also disabled. But we wanted to know if there were other things that we're missing on that we could get, because this is just costing us so much additional money that we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we have to go down to the food pantry just to make sure we have proper stuff to eat, because stuff has gone up so much.
Yeah. So what other are you referring to like food and maybe relief for some utility bills? I don't know if you're in a warm climate or.
Yeah, both of those are some of them, because everything has just gone up so much, especially in the last few years, and
I know.
And it's so hard when my wife was trying to go back to work, and then all this happened, and so now she can't do anything. So, and I just work a little part-time job. It's all I can do, and so it's just making it harder and harder on us.
Yeah, yeah. And like, what state are you in?
In Texas.
Texas. Do you know
Hey.
Philip?
hey, brother.
Philip is in Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I'll give you a good place to start. I don't know if you can still see my screen while you're.
I can. I shut my computer down because it was locking my it was locking up, so that's why I just turned it off.
So we've received this question before, so we have created a go-to list for 7 like little known services to survive.
Okay.
Um, and I have it on my screen in the presentation room. We just have to figure out how to get it to you. Are you a member here at the
Okay.
Disability Digest?
Yes, I am. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't know that my wife hadn't already authorized y'all to take care of us again, because I guess we have to do it every year. So
Mhm.
I've been going back and forth with Jam. I think that's her name.
Oh,
On
Hi,
I
the
know who
sir.
you are. You
yeah
don't need to tell me your
yeah,
last
you know
name.
Patricia. Yeah yeah
Yes, yes, and I know
Yeah.
you. And I know you. Now I
yeah
recognize your
right
voice.
yeah
Um, I would start going through this list of resources, Paul, that we have, and
okay
there's like resources available at local levels from like county social
uh-huh
assistance, centers for independent
right
living, and it could be food, it could be utility bills,
right
um, and that is the best place to start. Now,
okay
I encourage you to approach this like a job. I mean,
uh-huh
you've got to stay on this
sure
to uncover, the
sure
nuggets because you may call and leave a message and they might not get back to you.
right never call back
Right.
yep
Um,
okay
so, but there are resources like here in Vermont from the Centers for Independent Living.
uh-huh
I know they have fuel relief. They have Meals on Wheels for food.
right and
Um,
we do have some of that right now. We were just concerned there were other things now that she's hospitalized and it's just me, and and when she gets home she's going to have additional care. I mean, this is the second major surgery she's had to have in a month,
mm,
and so we have had a nurse coming out once a week and stuff, but I don't know what all kinds of care she's going to be needing once she leaves this
yeah.
time.
Well, you tell her that we are praying for her. That's for
Okay,
sure.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Um, and so I think Jam knows how to contact you. We can make sure that you
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah.
Okay.
give us some feedback and some update
Okay.
on what is going on. Okay.
Okay. And I
Okay.
wanted to. Can you also have her make sure that I signed all of the necessary authorizations and everything?
Yeah.
Because we've been going back and forth this morning. So I wanted to make sure. I thought my wife had already done all of that the last time
Okay.
we were on the phone.
Okay.
So that's why I was making sure it's done, because tomorrow's the last day.
Right. Right. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yep, Jam
Okay.
is wonderful at what she does, and I'm sure
Yep.
we'll get it
Yep.
taken care of for you, Paul. All right.
Okay. I appreciate it.
All right. You be well. Nice to
Well,
hear
thank
from
you
you.
very much. Okay.
Okay.
You bet. You take care. Bye
All
bye.
right. Okay. Um, Philip, you want to start with your question?
Yeah. Does it help your case to contact your state congressperson or state senator?
All kinds of
Thank you for calling. This is Brian Terry, and if you don't mind holding, I'm just going to answer this question online first. Okay.
No problem. Thank you.
Yep. So contacting your representative, will it help? Is that the question, Philip?
Yes.
Okay. I think in certain situations, it can definitely be a game changer. When it's not effective is if you're not at the point where you have waited long enough, like if you just applied and you're 3 months into it and you think that, you should just have a decision. Um, I don't, in my experience, that's not a good time to apply pressure. Um, and so if you've waited, like the wait time is 233 days in your area and you're at 270, then it would make sense to do it then, only if you have a case that has been built and the right evidence is in it. And most people think everything is fine in their case, but actually most are not, especially if they're doing it on their own. So, and that is like, because here's the thing, if you're going to wait that long, you really want to make sure, in my opinion, that you've got the best opportunity to get approved. Because if you don't, if you half-ass it, which unfortunately some do, then you'd have to wait maybe another 233 days. So if your case is in a good shape, then absolutely use a representative. They've done great work. Good question. All right. Well, thanks for calling in. Who am I speaking to?
Tabitha?
Tabitha. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Last I checked, I was doing really good. Where are you? What state are you in?
Florida.
All right. Texas,
Hi,
last
Tabitha. I
Florida.
know her, Brian.
You know Tabitha? You know Jam Tabitha?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. We spoke last night.
Wow. All right. All right. What can I help you with? What's your question?
So I have two important questions. One is I have a 3-year-old son, and they said that he doesn't qualify to be on my disability to receive a check. I never heard that. Your people on your side never heard that either, and I don't understand why.
So, help me understand where you're at. Are you applying for Social Security disability benefits?
No, I'm fully disabled as of 2020.
Okay, so you're approved as of 2020. And tell me how old your son is?
He's 3. So the year that I got approved was the year that he was born.
Oh, maybe that's why. I
Well,
don't
no,
know.
I called in the year after or whatever because I didn't know about that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they told me that I didn't qualify.
So when somebody told you this, how did you receive the information? Did somebody tell you over the phone, Tabitha?
Yes, I called in to find out because I heard about my child should be receiving
Right.
a portion of my check, and I'm like, okay, well let me call. So I called and they said, yeah, I don't qualify. I'm like, how do I not qualify? I don't understand.
I
Like,
don't understand
they
either.
didn't explain it to me.
I don't
Maybe
understand
they
either. Here's a few ideas for you to pursue this. So first of all, I think it was Philip. I don't know if you said it in this meeting or the last. If you call Social Security and ask a question, if you call 5 times and ask the same question, it's likely, unfortunately, that you'll get 3 different answers. So, two ways to get to the bottom of this is you can, if this happens again, then ask them to show you the regulation. Like, what is the regulation that proves that you don't qualify? And it may be of your best interest to do one or both of the following. Go in to a local office like later in the week and sit down in front of somebody and ask them. That's one. 2 is the Centers for Independent Living most of them have benefit counselors where you could, and so there's no charge for their work or their service. And are you online? Can you see the presentation right now?
Yes.
Okay. So I am going to put this link in chat, and this right here is the Center for Independent Living. I would contact your local one and ask them for a benefit counselor. No charge for it. So those are the 2. And just a reminder that you want to, if somebody says no, like ask for like the law, the regulation to back it up.
Okay.
Okay. So that's question 1. In the time that we have left, you want to tackle question 2?
Sure. I was venturing and thinking about opening either a nonprofit for domestic violence because I've suffered it myself, and because the services that we have here are limited,
Mm-hmm.
and I was thinking about opening up my own business, and I was wondering what are the criterias, or what is it that I need? Like I'm scared to open a business because I don't want to lose my disability.
Right. Right. And running a business is a major endeavor. Um, Believe me, I happen to run one. Um, so here's what you need to be aware of is there's the earnings limitation that we covered earlier in this program. And then in addition to that is the time. Like you are expected to keep your work activity below 20 hours a week. So if you open a business, you have to be conscious of those two things. Now you can open a business. I mean, um, and if you can open a business that allows you to operate within those confines, that's fine. The other thing with a business is you can open and own a business, but you could take a paycheck out of the business and work in the business within that confines of income and time, and then have other people work the business. So, you know, you can do that. Um, so those are some things to consider. Yeah, you're ambitious in tackling that. I applaud you for doing it. One thing you might want to ask is this. When you contact your local Center for Independent Living, ask them what type of resources are in the area for domestic violence. And maybe there's something that you don't know of that you could work in or be a part of that would be, that might fulfill that. Just an idea.
That sounds great. There's only one service here in where I'm located, and I recently went to them, and they basically, every time it's been like either shorthanded or they're not concerned about the urgency of the situation right now. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to be able to help with.
Yeah,
And because it happens every day, every minute, every hour.
it's awful.
To women, men, and I want to be able to open that window for my area, because if one place can't take care of you, there should be another place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the center's last thought would be a great place. I know in Vermont they have a program just like that for women of domestic violence. I don't know if they do it for men or not, but I know they do it for women. So, but anyway, I wish you well with that. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Nice to
calling
meet you.
in, Tabitha. Keep us posted. Let
Thank
us know
you
what you find out.
Thank you for everything you do for us.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. All right. Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Okay, let's take, I'm going to put the lines on hold. We can take some of the questions in chat before we wrap up here.
Okay. Do you have another one, Phil?
No, go ahead, Jim, if you have any.
Okay. All right. For Moana, my question is, now that I have been receiving SSDI for 2 years, will I receive a medical card for January 2024?
So it sounds like is approved but not Medicare eligible.
Yet, I think.
Yeah, you should receive a card, but believe it or not, not everybody does. And if you are certain on your date of when you are Medicare eligible, then you can call Social Security and get the information that is on your card. And I'll show you another way that you can confirm that. If you still have your award letter, or for those of you that are going to be receiving one, what you want to look for your Medicare eligibility is it's going to be 24 months from this top line that says you are entitled to monthly benefits. So it's from the top line that says entitled. So it'd be 24 months for this person from August of 2021 when you're Medicare eligible. So if you're Medicare eligible in January and you already have read this and know this and you don't have your card, you can call Social Security. Or if you're working with us, I don't know if you are or not here at the Disability Digest, but if you are working with us, we could actually call in and get that information for you. So you can reach out to us. All right.
All right, from Connor. Hello.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. From Connor, hello all. Here's my question. I received two letters from Social Security in reference to remote hearing options, and it asks for me to make a choice and respond quickly. And the second is a waiver of timely written
Mm-hmm.
notice of hearing. I sent
Mm-hmm.
them my representative. I sent them to my representative at Citizens Disability and followed up to find out what I need to do with these documents, but they are unresponsive. Need guidance.
Well, so I think the focus of the question is like which hearing option is better? Is that kind of the
Yeah,
vibe, Jam?
yeah.
Um, my personal preference for the cases that we work on that go to hearing is to do the telephonic rather than the in-person. Um, but this is me, and this is based on my experience, and we look at the numbers and the results and all of that. Um, First of all, if you go to an in-person hearing, and that's your preference, I don't want to discourage you from doing that. You'll go into a federal building, and last I knew, the judges are still sitting behind this big glass panel, um, and and you're behind another panel. So there isn't a whole lot of intimacy there. Um, but here's why I have the position that I do is because these cases and getting approved is based on the criteria. Keep going back to Jam's presentation here that I'm going to put back up on the screen. But it goes really is focused on the medical evidence and what is diagnosed and what's treated. And when you're presenting medical evidence and your limitations, you might walk around with a limp or show whatever type of physical characteristic that you have.
Or
But if
mental.
it's not in your medical records, then it's going to be difficult for the judge to put it down as credible evidence. So then that brings you back to the phone. Well, why the phone? One, it's more convenient for people. Two, for us, it allows me to access better attorneys that love to sit at home and not go to court and have to deal with all the driving and the parking and all of that. So I get better quality people that take on cases. So that is my personal preference. Now you have somebody, Citizens Disability. I know those folks. I've been to their offices in Boston. They may have a different opinion for you. I don't know. That's just mine.
All right. I'm 62 years old, and my initial letter is 5 to 7 years. Been going to all my doctor's appointments since my approval. How do I get all my medical records from all my doctors for my upcoming CDR to keep my benefits?
Yeah, well, there's there's a difference of opinion here. I don't feel that it is, I mean, there's two ways to look at this. You could have all of your medical records and submit those with your review. You could do that. And there are some like even Attorney James Brown, he's mentioned doing that. But ultimately, the burden of proof is on Social Security. It's their job to get those. So, but I'm going to answer your question. A patient portal, the way that there's a law that was passed, I think it's been 2 years now, maybe, no, it'd be a year now, where when you log into your patient portal, you should have access to all of your medical records. They should all be in one place. So getting those and returning those with your CDR demonstrating that you have been treated. I get your point. And if they're not all in your patient portal, then I I don't know I don't know why they wouldn't be. And I would expect if they're not, then you have to track them down at your doctor. Was there a number of years or a time frame that they were looking at getting medical records that say like no?
No.
Yeah. I mean, I'd also just focus on if you've been doing good, consistent treatment for a year, I'd just show them what you've done in the last year. I mean, a lot of initial applications, that's all they request is a year. Yeah.
All right.
All right, let's
From
take
Greg.
two more questions. I have to be conscious of time, so I make sure
Okay.
I get on to my next show.
All right. From Greg
After you,
Barney,
Jan.
does SS. Hello?
Phil,
Did
you
you
have a
say
question?
no?
Yeah, Becky asked, can you open account on SSA site but have not filed yet and file for disability later?
When you open your application on there and you open that account and you start entering information, the answer is no, because when you leave that, it gives you a code, and that really is demonstrating that you're starting your application. So I wouldn't do that. If you're curious about like what's in there, we have a video on it in the disability approval course that shows you the inner workings of the application process. I would go in there with the intent to start it and finish it. So, good question. Jan, back to you.
Yeah. From Greg, does SSI pay the first 5 months that SSDI hold back?
There isn't an elimination period for SSI, so that'd be yes. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's take one more.
All right. Can we take two more?
Okay, two more.
Okay. Is there a limit in how far back Social Security goes for back pay? This is a common question.
Yes, there is. You can go back 12 months. Yeah, like I'll give you an example. Like this was somebody that you were working with this morning. I might not have the numbers right, but uh, this person has been out of work for, well, they haven't been out of work. This person stopped working full time 2 years ago, has been earning like $700 a month. And if you remember back to Philip's part of how much money you can make $1,470 a month. Anything below that is considered like you can apply for disability. So this individual's been working at that level for 2 years but can only go back and get 12 months of those back benefits. So this person has been basically leaving money on the table at Social Security. Right. So keep in mind the total amount that you have to take into consideration is 17 months because the first 5 months is the waiting or the elimination period, and then you can get 12 months of back benefits. So in my example, if somebody is out of work like right now and they've been out of work for 18 months as of December right now, right? And if they applied right now, they could get no, I don't have that right. It would be 17. It's 5 and 12. So if they're out of work 17 months, so they could get the maximum still by applying right now. But if they waited until January, that's the 18th month, then they're basically missing out on a month of their back benefits because they haven't applied. Does that make sense? Kind of, sort of.
Yes.
All right,
It
last
does.
question, folks. Had some good ones today.
Okay, this is about Medicare. Can the flex card amount be used against you in figuring out your rent for Section 8 and or for fuel assistance, etc.?
That's a good one. I don't know. I don't know. Let me think about this. I don't know the answer to that one. I mean, if it was, it would be considered like an in-kind gift. Um, I would go to get an answer for that. Um, I would go to Centers for Independent Living. If you're not working with us, like, and we're not managing your Medicare, then I would go to either your insurance agent, or I would go to Centers for Independent Living and ask for a benefit counselor. That's what I would do. That's a really good question. All right. We've got to wrap up for today. This has been wonderful. Philip, Jam, thank you very much for your contribution. I hope everybody else out there. Look at, I think you're getting some standing ovations. I see it in the chat right there. But thank you folks for doing it. And thanks everybody for taking time out of your day to coming out and listen to our top 10 questions and contributing your questions here. We hope you find value in this. If you're new here, like some of those that have called in today, we welcome you to, check out all of our videos, of course, but the very best way that we can help you is if you decide to join us as a member here at the Disability Digest. And the reason for that is, I'm going to show you here on the screen, is when you come in and you complete your profile by clicking this green button right here at the Disability Digest, and Jam and Philip will put a link in the respective chats. When you complete your profile, that helps us understand like where you're at. Like if you're trying to get approved, and if you are trying to get approved, are you applied and waiting? Have you applied and denied? And then from there, the continuing questions will help us get you the right information. I mean, there's over 1,000 videos on our YouTube channel. And again, love it if you want to go through all of those and learn that way. But this way will save you a bunch of time, and it's the same price. It's no charge. So that's the very best way that we can help you get the right information, in touch with the right people, in touch with an advocate like Jam or Philip in certain situations. So if that sounds like it might be something that would benefit you, come on in, check it out. So, and we'll be back next week, right? I will anyway, with a whole new show. So thanks again, everybody. Make it a great
Thank
day.
you, guys.
Be
Bye,
well.
guys.